Senate Bill 1380, a bill to amend and reenact Section 58.1, 3660 of the Code of Virginia and to amend the code by adding a section numbered 56-585.1:13 relating to electric utilities, electric school bus projects, reported from Labor and Commerce with substitute, and there are floor amendments.
The delegate from Hampton, Delegate Ward.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Senate Bill 1380 authorizes electric utilities to partner with school divisions to implement projects designed to encourage partner with school divisions to implement projects designed to encourage the proliferation of school buses that are fueled in whole or in part by electricity, along with associated charging and other infrastructure for the purpose of transporting students, and that may also serve as electric grid stabilization or peak shaving resources. Madam Speaker, I believe there are amendments.
Yes, Chairwoman Ward, would you like to start with the committee substitute?
Yes, move the committee substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? As many as favor the motion will say aye.
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 Those opposed, the committee substitute is agreed to. And will the clerk please report the floor amendments?
The first set of floor amendments are offered by Delegate Scott. There are 3 amendments offered to Senate Bill 1380, and they are available on IHOD and LIS.
The delegate from Portsmouth, Delegate Scott, will you please describe the floor amendments?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaking to the floor amendments.
Delegate Scott.
Floor Amendment 1, and all of these come with the full support of the patron. Floor Amendment 1 limits the scope of the electric school bus program. It strikes 1,250 buses and inserts 1,000, so it basically just reduces the total number of buses from 1,250 to 1,000, making it somewhat smaller in scope than originally drafted. The second amendment basically clarifies that no school division shall be required to participate in an electric school bus project. And this program was never designed to be a mandate. It just makes it clear that it's not as voluntary on school districts' parts. And the third amendment basically makes it clear that transportation of students is a top priority, and only if the buses are not needed for transportation can they be used for grid stability or energy storage. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Shall the floor amendments be agreed to? As many as favor the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Parliamentary inquiry, Madam Speaker. Delegate Rome.
Yes, the delegate from Prince William, Delegate, you wanted to speak before we voted on the floor
No, a parliamentary inquiry, Madam Speaker.
Delegate Rome.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Under Jefferson's manual, it is only the patron of an amendment who actually offers the amendment who is locked into then, if the amendment were to pass, and who's then locked into supporting the underlying bill, not anyone else who votes for that amendment if they do not support the underlying bill. Is that correct, Madam Speaker?
Can you repeat that again, Delegate Rome?
Sure, Madam Speaker. I just, under Jefferson's manual, only the patron of the floor amendment, if the amendment is accepted, has to vote for the underlying bill, not any of the other members who were to vote for the amendment if it is accepted, but could still then vote against the underlying bill. Is that correct, Madam Speaker?
That is correct. That is correct.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Shall the floor amendments, the delegate from Portsmouth, Delegate Scott's floor amendments be agreed to? As many as favor the motion will say aye.
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 Those opposed?
Aye.
The floor amendments are agreed to. Delegate Scott, those are your floor amendments, correct? I think we have one more floor amendment, but that is not yours. Will the clerk please report the 4th floor amendment?
The next floor amendment to Senate Bill 1380 is offered by Delegate Bourne and is available on IHOD and LIS.
The delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Bourne.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, speaking to the amendment.
Delegate Bourne, you have the floor.
Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this floor amendment seeks to do a couple things. One, it it seeks to insert as much equity into the distribution of these school buses as we can by requiring that prioritization be given to schools that are considered Title I schools. So those are the schools that need the most support because they support the most impoverished students in our school system. Second, Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, the amendment also prioritizes having these buses serve students who live in areas with the lowest ambient air quality, as measured by our air quality monitors throughout the Commonwealth. And then finally, Madam Speaker, it requires that no fewer than 25% of the buses in this project be allocated to schools that receive that Title I funding, ensuring that we have the greatest amount of equitable distribution of these buses from everything from racial, economic, and geographic perspectives. And so it would be my hope that the House would adopt this amendment.
The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Davis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Will the delegate yield for a question?
Will the delegate yield?
Madam Speaker, I would just ask, is he referring to me or the delegate from
delegate from Virginia Beach. Which delegate are you referring to?
The patron of the amendment, Madam Speaker.
Delegate Bourne.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I'll yield.
The delegate yields. Delegate Davis, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would just ask the delegate if it is accurate that localities, this is not mandatory on any locality, and any locality that participates still has a financial obligation relating to each school bus that they then want to utilize. And if those two are correct, how do we ensure that 25% of the buses are allocated to Title I schools?
Delegate Bourne.
Madam Speaker, I would say to the delegate that my understanding is that the program and project is voluntary. Madam Speaker, I would further say that regardless of whether a school or school division receives Title I funding or not, buses have a life cycle, and school divisions are on schedules to purchase buses and are constantly trying to improve not only the academics but also the educational experience and be good stewards of the communities in which they serve. And so if the choice is to get a bus that is diesel powered or electric, my hope is that our school divisions will choose this because there are so many benefits to this program from an environmental perspective. And when the school buses are offered and applications are made, this amendment seeks to ensure that those school divisions who serve kids who are in asthma clusters or don't have the environmental protections that we would all like, because as the delegate, I'm sure, is well aware, we have done a lot of good work on environmental justice issues and bringing those concerns to the forefront of our policymaking decisions. And so, this is just to further those efforts, those concerns, and the progress that we made.
Thank you, Delegate Bourne.
Madam Speaker, one follow-up, if I may.
Delegate Davis, you have the floor.
Will the Speaker yield for one more question?
Will the delegate yield?
Madam Speaker, I'd be happy to yield.
Delegate yields. Delegate Davis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the comprehensive answer from the delegate a second ago. Would I be understanding this properly, and would I be correct that although there are 1,000 buses under the amendment offered previously that could be utilized under this program, that if there was only 100 buses utilized, but that 24% at the time, or 25% exactly at the time, were to Title I schools, that no other buses could be allocated until areas with Title I schools voluntarily got involved, paid for those buses, and started to utilize them as well?
Madam Speaker, answering the delegate. Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I would hate to say that my colleague from Virginia Beach is misunderstood. So I'll say this. I don't suspect or don't believe that 100 buses under his scenario, would result in the problem that he's identified. I think what we want to do is make sure that each application for use of these buses includes 25% equitable distribution for these students in these areas that have Title I students. So I will point to an example like the city of Richmond, where nearly all of our schools are classified as Title I schools. I suspect some of my friends in far southwest Virginia probably have the same ratio of Title I schools, given the economic conditions and factors out there. So, Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, the program will be an application-based program, and so the SCC, in its oversight, will determine and analyze whether or not the provisions of this law, including any such amendments that are adopted, that the utility provider, whether it be here in Richmond or in Wytheville, whether or not that service provider has in fact complied with the law. And so, Madam Speaker, I hope that has answered the delegate's question.
I thank the delegate.
Warren. Shall the floor amendment be agreed to? As many as favor the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The floor amendment is agreed to. Shall the bill pass? Madam Clerk.
Delegate Avoli.
Yes.
Delegate Avoli votes aye. Delegate Ferris. Delegate Goditis. Delegate Guzman.
Good.
Delegate Corey. Delegate McGuire. Delegate Mugler. Delegate Mullen. Delegate Price. Delegate Tran. Delegate Wampler. Delegate Webert. Delegate Webert. Delegate Willett.
The clerk will please close the roll.
Ayes 34, nays 53, abstentions 0.